Waiting for sushi to get here. Tonight I'm going to pair it with a Godello from Spain, from Bierzo, and I think this is the second bottle I got, yeah. So there was two Godellos at Prince and Corkscrew. This is the other one, Telenis, and never had this one either. First one was great, $20 range. Great alternative to sort of a slightly more full-bodied white. So I'm just going to pop and pour it. The Riesling yesterday, the Spotleise from Germany, 2001, was amazing with the spicy food I had, especially with the kimchi. Haven't had a Korean bibimbap in a long time. I was a little disappointed they forgot to put the fried egg, or I forgot to order the fried egg. It kind of brings the whole dish together. Either way, it was a good dish. Had some heat. It really went well with the slightly off-dry wine. So I'm going to finish that probably later, but I wanted to have something a little bit more crisp with my sushi here. And I opted for this since I've never had it. It smells like apples, ripe apples, like an apple orchard, and ripe pears. Very, it's a wonderful aroma. Some white flowers. No discernible spice that I can tell yet. Smells like it's going to be, color looks good. It's a little too cold again. I always wish I could put all my whites in a wine fridge at 50 degrees. I put a lot of them in my normal refrigerator. Just too cold, more like 40. But they do come up to temp as I have them with food and as they sit out. It's a wonderful aroma. Granny Smith apple on pineapple core, pear skin, good acidity, pretty good length, medium length, good acidity though, medium plus acidity. It's a little too cold. I can tell it's a little too cold. It wants to show more, but it's very cold. So I'm gonna let a little bit of this heat up, talk about some other things, revisit it. Maybe at the end of the video, I'm waiting for sushi to show up. So this is one of my favorite wine reference books. Well, Wine Bible by Karen McDougal is one of my favorite. Just thumb through it type of book. Look through a region type of. They recommend wines in there. I think most of the recommendations are pretty good. This goes over 1,368 wine varietals. So it's really just a reference. You would never read this. You'd go to sleep. But really awesome book when you just want to look up, say, a grape like Godello, which is what I'm going to do now, and just sort of read what it says about it, and if there's any characteristics about it. So, really great wine nerd reference for sure. Godello, here it is. So, very high quality variety undergoing a revival under several names in northwestern Iberia, Spain. And just trying to find if there's anything sort of interesting to talk about. I'll skim through it very quickly. Almost in extinction in the 1970s. Don't want to bore at too much. Fine mineral-rich wines are produced. So an interruption allowed me to read more of it, but doesn't give a whole lot about what it tastes like. A little disappointing there, but the best wines are intense and concentrated with sleek minerality, well suited to barrel fermentation, and are often long-lived due to the highly reductive nature of the variety. I do believe it's got a more full-bodied taste for sure. I do believe it lends itself to that. That's why I call this sort of an alternative to Chardonnay, which can be more of a fuller-bodied, medium plus bodied type of white wine. Anyway, this book is Jancis Robinson, Julia Harding, Jose, I can't pronounce his last name, Buya-Lamos. I'm sure I butchered that, but Jancis Robinson, first female MW in the world, so. And a wine critic. She has the purple pages. So that's a great reference. Something else I was doing recently is just sort of going over some wines I have on my wish list, and I always do this as I watch things on SOM TV, as I get various emails from various places, I start just creating a list of wines. I know certain stores that I absolutely want to get some wines from. So right here, I know I have these 2 wines. One's called Calabroni Rosso and Calabroni Plus. One's a red, one's a white, and I forget. They're made by... Just lost my train of thought there, but anyway. Oh, made by some food purveyor, these 2 wines. Anyway, one's a red, and it does a little bit of drying of the red grapes on a mat. The white's supposed to be like an unctuous type of white wine, but more specifically, some of the wines I have on my wish list. There's a Tarossi being made from the Aglianico grape in Campania, I'm pretty sure. It's called Historia by Mastro Berardino. There's also the Radici Reserva, same thing, Tarossi. I have a wine here on my list, not sure exactly what it is. I have to relook it up. Galandi, Tarati, Lavoro. And then I have a Mount Etna Red, a Prephylaxa Mount Etna Red that I absolutely want to try. Lavinia de Don Pepino, which would be awesome. So Mount Etna being volcanic soil, this is probably one of the better expressions of Mount Etna Red. I would love to find that thing. Probably very difficult. I'm also sure it's probably very expensive. Pocus Junior, Simbolo Red. I think it's Portuguese, 1000% sure. Quinta de Crosto Douro wine, so I really like some Douro Reds. One of these nights with so many interruptions. Anyway, Douro Red. So Portuguese Reds is a pretty good value area, although I do believe you need to spend a few bucks to get some really decent ones. The Crescia PNS is one of my favorites, but it's in the 50 to 70 depending where you find it. It's bizarrely priced, but an amazing red. My favorite Portuguese red to date. But Quinta de Crosto makes some really good Douros from the Douro region of Portugal, where they typically will make port, but these are dry table red wines that are awesome. Also on my list was a Philip Tony Cabernet, and I'm pretty sure he's just a old school winemaker, if I'm not mistaken. And I've wanted to try one of his cabs. I have 1850 and Sister Vine and Grenache, Old Vine Grenache. It's kind of like Old Vine Zinfandel. Those gnarly vines make some great wine. I do like Grenache. I just like it out of certain places. I haven't had enough Old Vine Grenache from Australia. This might be where this is from, but I'm not 1000% sure. It's from a producer named Cirillo, so I'm not sure. I do have some domestic Grenache made by Herman Story. His is very, very big and extracted. Not your standard Grenache. Most of your standard Grenache comes from out of Spain, and you get a lot of varieties of Grenache there. You get it from the Priorat, it'll be more concentrated. You get it from some other regions, might be a little more fresh and a little bit lighter. Grenache is a low tannin, high acid red, but can be definitely made to look a little different. More red fruit, but Grenache is an absolutely great grape. The Grenache Syrah Mourvedre GSMs out of the Southern Rhone, that's what you get the majority of, and they're fantastic as well. But tastes totally different than the ones in Spain, taste totally different than the ones in Australia, totally different than the ones made in the United States. So, gonna go back to this wine. Sushi just got here a few minutes ago, one of the pauses of the video. All the same aromas on the nose. It's got a riper apple smell, mostly riper apples, riper pears. And I really enjoy that. On the palate, it's a little more tart. So like that, so I'm saying Granny Smith apple, pear of skin, pineapple core, like some tartar fruit. Tart-like fruit. Touch of a bitterness to it, but not in a bad way. I feel like eating an edible flower. It's a good wine. For 20-something bucks. 20, I think 20 or 22. It's a great white. I really like it. Okay, I'm gonna have it with some sushi, and we'll call this mishmash of a video a night.